Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about something that I never talk about in this channel, which is camera rumors. Now, if you're a Canon shooter like myself, you most likely already follow the website canonrumors.com, and recently they've been posting quite a bit about the upcoming R7, supposed to be a camera that's going to be announced soon, in May 24th, so they say. Whether or not it's going to be announced then or in June or in July, it does seem that it will be eventually announced, and the specs are quite interesting. Now, I haven't made the switch to the mirrorless system yet, but that's the future. It's quite obvious that Canon is switching over to the RF mount for good. They've already said that the 1DX Mark III is the last DSLR that they've produced. A lot of the EF lenses are being discontinued and whatnot, so it's very obvious that that will be the future. We'll just have to catch up and switch eventually. The cool thing about these new mirrorless cameras is that they work very well with EF lenses using the adapter. Now, I haven't tested this myself, but from everything that I've read and that I've seen on YouTube and whatnot, they work flawlessly, so it's not a concern that people have EF lenses if they want to switch to the mirrorless system. I haven't made the switch yet, but as I said, it is the future, so eventually it's something that most of us will do to be able to have the latest technology, the latest autofocus, the latest sensors, etc. Now let's get to the specs of this supposed R7 that have been leaked. As with any rumors, please take all of this info with a grain of salt, because we don't know if these specs are actually the ones that are going to be on the camera or not. But so they say it's going to be a 32.5 megapixel sensor, just like the one on the 90D, but obviously a new sensor, new processor, so it'll be much better, but the same megapixel count. It's going to be an APS-C sensor, so crop sensor, dual pixel CMOS AF. Now, an interesting part is obviously the frames per second. They say it's going to shoot 15 frames per second with a mechanical shutter and 30 with the electronic shutter. It's supposed to come with 2 SD card slots, UHS Mark II. Now, how fast do those SD cards need to be if one is shooting 30 frames per second? Quite fast, right? Especially if you're shooting redundant, so making a backup and storing data in both cards at the same time. I don't think it should be an issue. I don't think anybody's going to be pressing that shutter forever. It's just going to be quick bursts, but the buffer might fill up quite fast if you're shooting 30 frames per second. So that should be interesting to see. The camera is also going to have in-body image stabilization, and that's awesome because it'll stack with a lens that has image stabilization. So if you want to take handheld shots, it's going to help you with that as well. So that's fantastic. For us sport shooters, we're shooting most of the time really fast shutter, so it shouldn't really be an issue, but for those panning shots and whatnot, it might be useful. Now, there's also video specs. I'm not going to go over them, to be honest, because I don't really care about video specs. I'm still going to post them here on the video for you to see. So for those interested, it might be interesting to see the specs that they're announcing. But I'm mostly excited about the photo part of the camera. In my eyes, this is the 7D Mark II replacement, so to speak, in the new system. In the lineup, I think it'll be roughly where the 7D Mark II was when it was announced, and it should be a camera that's going to excite a lot of sports photographers and wildlife shooters. That's not the end of the video though, because as you saw in the title, there's also the announcement of an R10. It's meant to have 24.2 megapixel sensor. It's going to shoot 15 frames per second with a mechanical shutter and 23 with the electronic. And it's only going to have 1 SD card, also UHS Mark II, and then there's some video specs as well. So this will be the lower end one. Still very exciting camera, but the R7, if it does come true, I think it'll be very, very popular. Do you guys like this type of video? Do you like to follow rumors at all? I know I do. I find the information interesting, though like with any rumor, I take all the information with a huge grain of salt. If this camera does come to life though, I think it'll be very interesting, and depending on the price, I'll see if I'll switch to mirrorless finally or not, and if I do, I know that my EF lenses are going to work without issues, so it's just making the jump to a different camera system. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you're all safe. Take it easy. Bye bye.